Hello everyone and welcome back to another massive chess game from the history of chess. And in this chess game we have Raul Capablanca with the white pieces and his opponent is Alekhine. I already showed you a very beautiful chess game between these two chess giants, and that chess game was from 1914, and I want to go 1 year back, 1913. And let's see what happened in this chess game as well. Well, this chess game was played in the Savorin Cup in St. Petersburg in 1913. But before showing you this beautiful chess game, I have a bunch of beautiful photos. And this photo is taken exactly from this chess game. Alekhine is on the left and Capablanca is on the right. And I will leave you alone with this incredible and beautiful picture, an amazing piece of history. Okay, so I have another angle of this photo, and this is a close look, so you can see their facial expression better with this angle. So you can see Capablanca is thinking about a move, and Alekhine for some reason, well, I don't know, but he's not looking at the board and he doesn't look very happy. Okay, so let's see what happened in this chess game. So this was the first photo. Okay, so Raul Capablanca starts the game with pushing the d-pawn, d5, c4. And we have Queen's Gambit declined. And this is the Slav defense. e3, knight to f6, and knight to f3, pawn up, knight out, bishop out, and both players castled. Queen out, capturing the pawn, capturing back with the knight, c5, challenging the center. Capablanca played knight from c to e5. Well, capturing the pawn, and this is not looking very good, isn't it? So white has an isolated pawn. Knight to b6, knight to g5 by Raul Capablanca, attacking on h7, pushing the pawn and defending. Knight goes back, king to g7, and finally developing the bishop to g5, and knight in, rook over, bishop out, queen over, and knight back and defending on h6. So basically in this position Capablanca was threatening to play bishop to h6, checking the king and capturing the rook. So knight goes back, a passive move, but defending on h6. Capablanca simply captured the bishop, queen takes on e7, bishop to e4, bishop to b5. Well, let's take it back. In this position, maybe Capablanca is already threatening to capture the knight, and after capturing back, rook in to c7. The bishop is pinned, also attacking on b7. Maybe that was a plan. So developing the bishop out, attacking the rook, rook over, defending. Queen to d6. Alekhine didn't want to play a passive move, and then bishop takes on d5. Well, in this position black has to capture back with the pawn, and also black has an isolated pawn. But what happens if capturing back with the queen and leaving white with an isolated pawn? What is the downside of this move? Well, of course, rook to c5. This is both attacking the bishop and the queen, and this is losing a piece. So after capturing on a2, bang, rook takes on b5. And this is losing for black. Well, Capablanca simply captured the knight, capturing back, and then queen in, defending the bishop, but now queen to c7 by Raul Capablanca. And he is hoping to exchange the queens, and also attacking the b-pawn. So what else? Exchanging the queens, and perhaps in this position Alekhine realized that his position is actually collapsing, believe it or not, at a very early stage of this chess game. Well, Capablanca is attacking the B pawn. And how to defend? But actually there is one more bigger threat in this position, and that is knight to g5. And if knight to g5, actually defending is very difficult because threatening to take the pawn, threatening, which is a bigger threat, knight to e6, checking the king because the f pawn is pinned, and then capturing the rook. This is why in this position Alekhine sadly played h6, and then Raul Capablanca captured on b7, and he's a pawn down. You have to play precisely against Capablanca, because if you lose pawns and pieces, of course, it is impossible to defeat Capablanca. So Capablanca is a pawn up, and this is not looking good for Alexander Alekhine. Well, in this position, let's say defending the b pawn, then knight to g5, and how to defend capturing the pawn with the knight, or even knight to e6, checking the king and capturing the rook. The f pawn is going to be pinned. So this move is a deadly move. So this is why after capturing on c7, Alekhine desperately played h6. Capablanca makes it look so easy, isn't it? And then simply capturing on b7. Well, Alekhine has the open file. Capablanca pushed the b pawn, rook in, but now pushing the pawn and defending the a pawn. And where is the bishop going? Bishop to e2. But now here comes another very important move by Capablanca. What would you do in this position? Capablanca played knight to h4. And Alekhine played h5. But then simply capturing the pawn. And now Capablanca has 2 extra pawns. And this is losing for Alekhine, materially and positionally. Well, of course, the f pawn is pinned, as we mentioned. But let's take it back. Could black prevented this rampage? If bishop to h5, what happens then? Defending on g6. Well, this is not defending anything, of course. We also mentioned that the f pawn is also pinned, but more importantly, pushing the g pawn, and the bishop is trapped. This is losing a piece. So if g5, then check, king moves, and here comes knight to g3. Okay, defending the pawn, but this time this is losing a piece. Where is the bishop going? Seriously. Nowhere. This is losing a piece. Incredible. No matter what black does, black is losing material, heavy material, or losing the pawn. So in this position, Alekhine saw all this, and he pushed the h pawn, and Capablanca captured. The g pawn he is breaking in with the knight, at least defending the rook. But as I said, Capablanca has 2 extra pawns, and this is not looking good for Alexander Alekhine. And this is actually losing one more pawn, because that was attacking the rook and vacating on f8 and not defending the f pawn. This is check. Total obliteration. Destruction. What an incredible chess game by Capablanca. He makes it look so easy. Well, Alexander Alekhine was one of the greatest chess players of all times. He was capable of playing against almost 40 people blindfolded. Even Magnus Carlsen, who trained with computers, never did something like that. I have seen Magnus Carlsen playing blindfolded chess simuls, and that was against 10 people. I'm not saying Magnus Carlsen is worst. But Alekhine was like a machine, an incredible chess player, and look how Capablanca is simply outclassing him, outplaying him. Incredible. So after rook takes on f7, this is being 3 pawns down. King to h6 and f4 by Capablanca. Complete destruction. Incredible. a5. What a desperate move by Alexander Alekhine. And in this position, Capablanca played another killer move and he played knight to h4. Can you see the threat? Well, the threat is knight to f5, checkmate. So after thinking hard, this is what Alexander Alekhine did. A desperate move. Giving the exchange and giving white a pass pawn. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But if I have to illustrate that, if a random move, then knight to f5, checkmate. Incredible. Black is getting checkmated, so if something like knight to e4, and this is, it looks like it is defending on f5, but simply pushing the g-pawn, and the threat is very obvious, pushing the g-pawn again, checkmate. So if capturing the pawn, rook takes bishop, actually this is losing on the spot. Rook takes rook, check, check, and checkmate. There is forced checkmate. So after pushing the pawn, again, threatening checkmate. If bishop takes on g4, knight takes bishop. And this is check. So capturing, check, king moves, checkmate. There is no defense and black is getting checkmated. And finally, if bishop to g4, then it is very simple. Simply capturing the bishop with the knight, and this is check. And then capturing the rook, bang. This is all over for black, once again. Well, as you can see, there is no sensible defense in this position, so rook takes on e5, and then capturing the rook. Oh, come on. Come on. Alekhine is not resigning. Incredible. He has to resign. Well, Raul Capablanca has 3 pawns, plus the exchange, plus the passed pawn. This is all over for black. King to g5. Well, simply defending the knight. King down, checking the king, king down, knight goes back. And finally Alexander Alekhine resigned. Because he doesn't want to see his king getting checkmated, knight to f4, checkmate. Whatever black does, whatever he does, the king is in the mating net and there is no defense. So a random move, checkmate. Fantastic. Unbelievable. Raul Capablanca outclassed Alexander Alekhine. This was incredible. Well, Alexander Alekhine actually never defeated Raul Capablanca for a couple of years. Like from 1913 until their match in mid-1920s. I don't know the exact date. But he has never defeated Capablanca. Capablanca, when he was at his peak, he was incredible. That's why some say, actually he was the greatest chess player of all times. At least, the greatest talent. One of the greatest, for sure. This is how Alexander Alekhine got outclassed by Raul Capablanca. And look at his facial expression. Maybe that's why Alekhine was not looking very happy. At the left, he looks like a captain who is looking at a tsunami, approaching to the ship. 10 meters long tsunami. He is like, what the hell am I going to do now? God, help me. That's how he looks. This is how Alexander Alekhine got outclassed by Raul Capablanca. Well, did you also know that from 1916 until, I believe, 1921 or until 1922, I don't know the exact date, I read something like that a long time ago, so for that time period, Capablanca was undefeated. No one has ever managed to defeat Capablanca. And they also say that Capablanca never made serious preparations for the chess games. He never studied the openings, for example, seriously. According to Bobby Fischer, Capablanca's openings was not amazing, but in the middle game and in the end game, he played like a computer. So thank you very much for watching, and this was the fantastic chess game between Alekhine and Capablanca. And I hope to see you next time. Take care and bye bye.